All right, what's up, members of the kin? This is Steven, Jake, and Kaden from Pentology, the Wheel of Time crew. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Hey guys, how's it going?
So we're breaking down book 7, A Crown of Swords. Kaden is our first time reader, just went through it and finished recently. And Jake is our expert, our Wheel of Time encyclopedia over there. And I'm somewhere in between. You can decide for yourself based on how this episode goes. So, Kaden, we want to get your opinion as the first time reader. That's kind of the whole point of these episodes. So, tell us how Crown of Swords was for you.
Yeah. After the last podcast we did, I think I offended Jake a little bit when I rated book 6 so low. And I think 6 has been the low point in the series for me. This book was better, I thought, than the previous one.
Really? Okay.
The ending was not as awesome, but that's kind of like the only part of book 6 that was like really exciting to me was the ending, right? And I feel like this had even though maybe the scenes weren't as big overall, there were more of them throughout, which I liked. I also like it centers a lot around Matt. I like Matt's character.
Yeah. I think he has the most point of view time in this book.
Yep.
Yeah. On the little Wheel of Time encyclopedia, it breaks it down by point of view percentage. So I can tell you looked at that.
Yeah.
I also looked at that.
Those places are dangerous, Kaden. There's lots of spoilers in those areas.
I was very careful not to click on any links to any other pages. I didn't want any spoilers. Overall, I thought it was great. I thought it moved a little bit faster than book 6 as well.
Okay.
It's still a lot of politics happening. But I mean, if you liked any of the previous books, you'll like book 7. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of kind of the same beats. This one has all of our characters back again, and it's got 3 major plot lines. There's the Rand plot line, there's the girls plus Matt plot line, and there's the Egwene and Aes Sedai plot line. And it kind of hops around between them quite a bit. And I felt like maybe that was like a little bit more disjointed than previous books just because of the constant shifting. Like there are at most 4, 5, or 6 chapters from one set of viewpoints, and then it jumps to another, and they're not really related to what they're doing. Like all 3 are pretty separate viewpoints. So I think that's one thing where people maybe, I don't know, a little less satisfied with this one.
Yeah, and I've always, sometimes with the girls, not so much this time with Elaine and Nynaeve, but Egwene's to me was a lot more politics than the other ones were. It was a little bit harder for me to get into it. And because there was no relation to the other plot lines, it was probably even a little bit harder. And I felt like maybe there was a lot of, plot set up for future books. And there were definitely things that happened, but nothing like, earth shattering. So it definitely was a little bit different than previous books in that sense.
Jake, tell us why we're wrong. Tell us your take on book 7.
No, I think you're right. Thinking back, I just remember being a little disappointed with just the ending in general. Like Matt has like a cool storyline in this book, and I do agree with what you said. This book is probably faster paced than book 6 overall, but the ending of book 6 is so amazing and iconic, and the ending of comparing just the endings of book 7 to book 6, it's not as good. And especially when thinking about Rand, like he does cool stuff. Like he goes and he takes the crown of swords, obviously, or the laurel crown to finally oust Samael, but which is like an epic thing, but it just wasn't as, I feel like it wasn't as built up as the last book.
But yeah, the whole Ilion thing is kind of like going on in the background a little bit, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, we got to go to Ilion." Okay, let's go do that.
It's like part of I feel like this is kind of where Rand starts to not have as big of he stops being like the center of the plotting. In the next few books, it's more spreading out in the other characters and what's going on in the rest of the world. And so his role is just a little more diminished. And it's also that classic Rand of, I can't tell anyone what I'm going to do. It has to be a surprise. So, okay, yeah, now we're going to Ilion, just out of nowhere. But I do remember the first time reading this, I thought the fight scene with the golem at the end was really cool. That was like a pretty suspenseful moment, and just realize, like, I don't know, it was written so well where you're like, there's no way they're gonna like overcome this obstacle. It's like immune to channeling. And then the moment Matt's medallion touches it, I thought that was really cool.
Sounds like we're all thinking Matt was a big highlight, probably appearing at the end of all of our Wheel of Time episode. We do a top 3 and bottom 3 characters for the book. So he may be appearing on some lists, it sounds like.
Yeah. Also, this has like one of the most iconic beginnings of, from my memory with Wheel of Time, when all the Aes Sedai are like lined up in the beginning and basically needing to like decide whether they actually want to swear fealty to Rand. Like that's a huge shakeup in the dynamic of Aes Sedai in the world.
Let's go into let's start going into the plot. Before we do, if you like Phantology, you can find more at www.phantologybooks.com, and you can support the show at patreon.com/phantology_books. Okay, Kaden, plug is through. Go ahead.
I was going to say, going on with what Jake just said about the beginning of the book, I actually liked, at the beginning of the book, it kind of tells the end of book 6 again, but from Elida and Savannah, is that how you say her name's point of view? And I actually liked reading that better from their points of view than originally, like at the end of book 6 almost. I just thought it was really cool to see it from them and like how frustrated they were, and it kind of like seeing it from them getting their butts kicked like made it even better. So reading those two things back to back, I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always like these scenes in fantasy books where you get the same scene or something that you've seen a bunch from one set of eyes now through another set of eyes, and you're like, oh, that's how this character appears based from the perspective of these other guys. And so this was more of an event, but it was nice to see like the ramifications of this huge thing from all angles.
Yeah, it just made it seem like at the beginning or at the end of book 6, you're like, wow, this was crazy. Thashamon are insane and powerful, and then like to see it from like the side that was like really afraid, it only makes that even like better than it already was, like you said.
Yeah.
Kaden, who's more annoying to you, Savannah or Elida?
Savannah.
Yeah, Savannah sucks.
That's
especially through this book. She just makes some really dumb decisions. She just gets played, and
she's like that person who's like so ambitious but has no skill to back it up, you know.
Elida at least like accomplishes some of the things that she set out to do. Even if you don't like her and what she's doing, she still is like a threat, where it feels like the Shido have just been kicked around, and they just keep getting kicked around the entire series so far.
With Elida, we've been tracking your progress on, is she a dark friend or is she not a dark friend, through the series. Have you come to a definitive answer yet?
I say no, definitely not a dark friend.
Okay,
very confused and just kind of not a happy person, but not evil.
Not a happy person, that's for sure.
No.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Elida is politically savvy for the most part and has earned her position of power, whereas Savannah just realized she was more just intelligent enough to know who was an influential person and tried like, oh, I'll marry Culloden just because like she could kind of use him. But other than that, her political, I don't know, her politicking is not top notch at all.
And she wants to do it again. Like she's all trying to get Rand so she can marry him. You're like, you already did this once. How is this even going to work again? Yeah, it's not smart.
And Rand's already got enough women. Why would Rand need another woman at this point?
Very true.
Yeah, she's pretty oblivious to all the pieces on the board. But
I think Elida is interesting because she gets these foretellings, prophecies, and one of the big themes of the Wheel of Time. But she always seems to interpret the prophecies in her direction. Like she sees the tower healed and she's like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna heal the tower. I'm doing such a great job. Whereas with other prophecies, it doesn't seem like, you know, our good, so to speak, heroes are so much in the realm of interpreting things to their end. They're more just like trying to figure out and piece it together. Elida is just more arrogant, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I feel like there's a change in character with Elida, and I don't know when it happens, but in book like 1 through 3, she's much more like, she has the foretelling that Rand is going to be kind of dangerous, and that
Mm-hmm.
the throne of Andor is like central to the last battle. And so you can tell she's like working from a place of like, I don't know, like seemingly goodwill and just like misunderstood. And then she turns more and more power hungry. And it's, I don't know, it's like she
Yeah.
loses that initial gray character to be almost a caricature of herself.
There's also a part in this book where Alviarin comes and kind of puts her in her place a little bit. And it's
Yeah.
kind of another changing, you know, she's been kind of the last couple of books, she's been the same. Like you said, there was a point where she changed after book 3. And this book, she kind of realizes, oh, hey, I'm maybe not in charge as I thought I was, and gets, you know, scared. And I'm not really sure how that resolves yet, but, you know,
Yeah.
the White Tower, even on her side, isn't fully under her control.
And we're really starting to open our eyes to how many Black sisters there are out there, and you know what the intense level of penetration that the dark that has had into the Aes Sedai. They're not they need a serious cleansing, because there are some bad things coming with all these Black sisters roaming around.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're gonna deal with that either. In this book, Egwene had some weird parts where she has some sisters swear fealty to her,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which was kind of different, or I guess normally that doesn't happen for an Almerlin, right? But at the same time, as I'm reading this, the Black sisters are no longer bound by their oaths anyway. So, um,
Yeah. Like you're not really sure what's going on there, huh?
yeah.
Like
So
how
let's start going through the plot maybe a little bit. So we talked about the prologue. The action begins with Rand, and there's, like I said, there's these 3 separate plot lines throughout the course of the book. We'll kind of jump from plot to plot. We can just talk about a few points here or there. I think that'll kind of keep things moving along. So he, at the beginning, he's trying to kind of figure out how to deal with these Aes Sedai. Like Jake said, they're all kind of lined up, and him and Perrin are trying to work out what they're going to do here. They're at odds a little bit. Perrin is very much against this, and he kind of refuses to go along with what Rand wants him to do. And then after a bunch of brooding and kind of bumbling around as a leader, he heads off back to Carrion, where what's her name? Colivere? Whatever her name is.
Oliver's how.
Yeah, okay, Colivere. She has usurped the throne, but her reign does not last very long at all. She's kicked out immediately, thanks in part to Fail. And then Fail goes and bickers with Perrin because that's what she likes to do. So that's how the book starts from Rand's viewpoint. What jumps out about with all that for you guys?
The biggest part for me during that was how when Rand comes back, he's worried about, you know, he just got kidnapped by Aes Sedai, you know, a couple of days earlier.
Right.
And so he's worried about his image, right? And how he's going to repair that so the people still think he's in charge and it's not the Aes Sedai controlling him.
Right.
So I think that's kind of one of the bigger politic points going on during some of these chapters, is how he is trying to assert that he's, you know, the Dragon Reborn still.
And I think it's cool how this whole, you know, being in a box, being captured by the Aes Sedai, that is handled pretty well, because it's not something he's just going to get over. It becomes a big part of his character. And yes, it can be a little annoying. He's always brooding and he doesn't trust anyone, but it seems like fairly accurate. You know, the guy came off a farm not too long ago. Now he's in power and he doesn't know who to trust, because he initially thought he could trust people. And now he's realizing that like Min is the only one that he can trust at all. So you kind of feel bad for him, but at the same time, this portion of Rand's character arc, it can be a little frustrating.
Yeah, I feel like for me, every time I reread it, it's less frustrating and it's more intriguing to me to see like the development of his character and his like kind of paranoia and how you can't trust people. And the more I read, I'm like, this is like justified. The first time I read it, I was like, come on, Rand, you got to trust people. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if you should really trust anyone.
Yeah.
But I think, like you said, like I like how him being in a box wasn't just this will be a conflict for this book. It really is a game changer for his character moving forward.
Mm-hmm. And it's a nice thing to have on his character because he's leveling up really drastically, becoming king of everything and being able to do everything with the one power. But he's not just like an overpowered god type guy, because at the core of his character, he just kind of bumbles around politically and doesn't know who to trust and has all these mental health issues. And so he seems like, still a pretty intriguing character. He's not just a one-dimensional, all-powerful Dragon Reborn, at least not yet. Okay, so him and Perrin bicker a little bit. Perrin is declining to lead the army. And now we go on to Egwene's portion. And I didn't love Egwene's portion in this book. Kaden, kind of sounds like you had a similar opinion, but really like most of her portion just consists of a bunch of different dreams and prophecies, which are always intriguing, and then like fealty swearing and politics with a Jillian Aes Sedai that are around. In this portion, Moghedien, I'm going to say, gets out mysteriously, and there's some issues with some Black sisters. And then Lan is discovered, still out there after we haven't heard from him for a while.
Wasn't he just like, kind of tied up or something?
He's just like at a farm somewhere. Like the Aes Sedai are just like holding on to him basically.
Yeah.
But now he's been unleashed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at least we have some status changes with Moghedien and Lan, but like other than that, I don't know, nothing Egwene did. I mean, she did well. Like she got some fealty sworn and she consolidated her powers a little bit, but I don't know that it was super compelling.
I think it's her and Swan, that like their alliance and team up is interesting, and I like the tension there of, which was kind of brought up in the last book, but continued here. Like she was really brought in just to be a tool, but she was able to recognize that, and so how can she use that to her advantage? It's like probably as close to getting some really good Game of Thrones intrigue as you get Wheel of Time.
Yeah, I was going to second the about Swan when she seems like she got a lot more power during these chapters than she had it during book 6, where when they go to the place wherever Land's being kept, Egwene kind of has her like, okay, you're going to watch over these sisters while I go and handle this or whatever, right? It seems like she has a lot more trust with Egwene, but also that she has more power over other sisters even than she did before. And that to me was one of the bigger things that actually happened during this section, even though it wasn't really like, anything huge.
Yeah, Swan has chosen the right horse to back in the race for sure with Egwene, which transitions perfectly into the next section.
Were you waiting to say that the whole podcast?
Yeah, because now we're horse racing with Matt and Oliver, and we're off with Elaine, Nynaeve, Avienda, Brigitta, and Matt and the girls, we'll say. And we're looking for the Bowl of Winds. The Bowl of Winds is, I'm going to say, my least favorite storyline in all of Wheel of Time. I'm sorry.
I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll refrain from making a comment on the storyline. I liked the I liked all the shenanigans Matt gets up to in the city. I like that he has his like home base in that tavern, but also in the you got Tylan chasing after him and everything. I think it's a pretty fun time with Matt there. And like I don't know if we said this on the video already or not, but he gets the apology from Elaine, which it's so funny to see. Like he's so frustrated with them, but then when they apologize, he's always like, oh, well, you didn't have to do that. Like he gets kind of sheepish.
The apology is like half-hearted. I mean, at least at the beginning. Later on, it gets better after he actually saves them.
Yeah.
Especially from Nynaeve. Nynaeve, her apology is terrible.
Yeah.
I think even Elaine's is not great, because I feel like her motivation is just to, make Avienda happy, and she doesn't really care about Matt.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah. Nynaeve's, she can't get over the fact that she would like, I'm the village wisdom and you're just some boy from my village, which is dumb in its own right. But Elaine can't recognize that like anyone has like done, like she owes anyone anything. And that's like, I don't know, a separate issue. But I do like how Avienda's like, wait, you have toe to him. And she's like, wait, what? Like Avienda has not been a fan of Matt for so long, and then realizing, wait, I have misunderstood this whole interaction.
And at least she is able to, I mean, maybe she's admitting she's wrong. Like she's at least one rational female character. A lot of Robert Jordan's women kind of get criticized for just being angry and irrational and obnoxious, but Avienda, I think, is one that we can get behind as being, fairly dynamic and a real person.
I also really liked Brigida becoming friends with Matt in this book.
Yeah, that was a fun moment.
And so that's another one of the women I thought that was kind of a fun like character growth.
I mean, that's how the whole thing starts. They're drinking together.
Yeah.
And Matt's like, oh man, the whole thing has been terrible. And Brigida's like, yeah, it has. Like, these girls have been totally messing with you. And that's what, creates the whole apology situation.
Yeah.
So Jake, did you like the Tylan romance?
I thought it was fun. Yeah. I thought it was fun.
Okay.
I thought it added some nice humor. Just I don't know, what would it be? I don't know if it's a juxtaposition or just the irony of Matt being chased by a woman because he's been called a womanizer. Not that honestly he hasn't, I don't feel like the series so far has shown him to be this type of person who just chases after women that much, but it was good to see him be uncomfortable in that situation.
Okay. I can see that.
You obviously you're not a fan of it. How about you, Kaden? Did you think it was some good comic relief, or was it just too weird?
I thought it was good comic relief. More and more, throughout the whole series, in each of the Rand, Perrin, and Matt's chapters, there was like, oh, Rand knows how to deal with girls, and Rand's like, oh, Perrin knows how to deal with, and they just go in the circle, right? And at first I didn't think it was super funny, but the further I get into the series, the funnier that becomes to me, just because of the different experiences they have. So when Matt, when Tylan's chasing him and Matt's like, Rand always know how to handle the girls, I was actually like, this is actually starting to get kind of funny. So I liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once you just accept the jokes, then you can really lean into them.
It was a little weird. I could see where Steven wouldn't.
I just thought it was, I mean, I get the irony and the humor there, but just why is Tylan isn't Tylan, she's significantly older. Maybe, I mean, she's a queen, so she's probably pretty, but yeah.
You also she is a queen but has no power.
And she has a son that
thinks she's super bored.
And he's obviously has so much charisma, and he's Taviran, and she can tell he has power behind him as well.
Okay, I settled on why it's weird for me. It's because she has a son that's Matt's age and is his peer. That's why it's weird.
What's weirder is that the son's okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let us know what you think about the whole Matt Tylan romance. Fantology this month is doing top romances in fantasy. No submissions for Matt and Tylan.
How is this not submitted? Man.
Yeah, it's a good one. There were a lot of Lan and Nynaeve, and the competition is wrapping up. There's only a few more entries, and it looks like Lan and Nynaeve are probably going to be at least part of the winning 3. So, I mean, we could talk about their romance right now. That's skipping ahead a bit, but if we just go forward in the girls plus Matt storyline a bit, well, should we talk about the kin first? We'd be skipping over the kin. Do we even need to talk about the kin?
Yeah, we do. The kin is awesome. To me, that was
they are awesome.
Yeah, they're awesome. I thought it was like a great piece of world building. Like generally you have like, oh, magic people go to magic school, you know, like in most fantasy series. So it was cool to see that like in a real world, there would be people who were kicked out or ran away or never really got there. And so there's this kind of third party entity made up of like the misfits and rejects that the White Tower couldn't accept. And
okay, fair.
And again, just the mystery behind it. I loved how Elaine and Nynaeve were assumed to be runaways, and so they're initially like captured by the kin, and then I don't know, a good role reversal there, and I don't know, it was great world building. Why don't you like them? Or I guess, Kaden, what's your opinion? And then yeah.
Well, I don't really, I haven't read further, so I'm not really sure where it's going, but it seemed like to me that, I think there was like 1,000 or, there's way more than you thought of these, the kin who can, it seems like are going to go join up with Egwene, right? And head to help her and her, and making the White Tower whole. And if that's true, it kind of felt like, just like an easy win for them to get all those Aes Sedai. If it really ends up being that way, that they go and help Egwene. So I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but if it is, I feel like that's a little too easy for them, but who knows? I did think it was interesting that, some of them were like so old. There was that one Aes Sedai who was like over 400.
Yeah. That was interesting. Okay. Yeah, there were a few things.
And it also, there's information revealed with the kin that are like leaving hints for other like aspects of, I don't know, just the world. Like when it comes to the age, like there's some clues dropped there for people to piece together about, I don't know, I don't want to spoil anything. It's not like huge major spoilers, but anyways, it's just good like expansion of the world. I imagine it as being like a fun side quest in like a video game where you're like, oh, what's this mystery? And you investigate it and you're like, oh, okay. There's this secret organization that I just, like this new faction I just made alliance with.
I think that's fun in a video game. I don't know in this book. I think it's mostly just because they're like a side quest of a side quest, because the whole Bowl of Winds thing for me it's just like such a pointless red herring. I don't see why the Bowl of Winds is
it's the weather, man.
The weather changes all the time. The Bowl of Winds doesn't even help that much.
Climate change denier over here, not acknowledging the Dark One's influence on the climate.
I need to get with it a little bit.
They went to Tel'aran'rhiod and they searched using need, and that's what came up. You're gonna deny arguably the creator's influence directing them where to go?
I just thought it was, man, I just thought the whole thing was boring. I'm sorry.
Sorry, kid. We're gonna take it.
No, you're good. Hey, the one thing I would say is I think Udar has been the most interesting, like as far as world building goes, in terms of like how different the culture is there compared to other places. I feel like before you had like Kyrian and Hamlet, I don't know, they felt very similar to me. Even though, Kyrian had more of the game of houses or whatever.
Right.
This one kind of felt like really the first kind of different culture.
With the wedding knives and
that
kind of stuff. Yeah.
And how like women kind of rule the city.
Which again is another perfect scenario for Matt and Tylan. Just that like emphasize that culture difference.
Yeah. The wedding knife thing is interesting, terrifying. I don't know what the right word is there.
More terrifying, I think.
Okay, so going on, we want to get to the Nynaeve and Lan romance because that was where we started on this tangent. So before that happens, Elaine takes over the Aes Sedai. Maybe one of her better moments. I know that we can be a little harsh on Elaine, but she, starts to politic a little bit here. So should we give her some props?
Yeah, she's good at leading.
All right, there it is.
She's just a brat to Matt, and I don't know. That's my main complaint with her.
Ben,
We've
if
already gone
you're
over that
listening,
though.
if Ben from Phantology is listening, we are helping. We are being nice to Elaine right now, so we're helping you out.
It was
There it
cool
is.
also. Her and Avienda have some cool parts where they find more Terangrial, right?
Okay.
Like kind of investigating more into that. I thought that was a cool kind of differentiating the different talents within channeling the one power.
Okay. Okay.
Cool. So cool moments all around for Elaine.
Okay. Not bad for Elaine. Okay, now the Nynaeve Lan romance. One of the more exciting parts of this book was the balefire from Mohidian. I guess she's just like in her carriage and she's like, oh, hey, there's Nynaeve in the boat. I'm going to balefire the boat. She misses Nynaeve. She hits the boat. Nynaeve is drowning and she finally breaks her block because of plot reasons. And Lan rescues her and then they get married. Boom. Lots of stuff right there.
I don't know if because of plot reasons is a fair assumption. They already went over.
Come on, the block thing for Nynaeve, that's such a plot device. I mean, a plot device is not always a bad thing,
No,
but
no,
that's what this is.
I agree. The block itself is a plot device, but her breaking it didn't just happen due to plot reasons. They set up in the last book when they were trying to break her block that there's lots of different ways to do it, and near-death experiences were one of them.
Okay.
So it's not like it was, and this was, no one would have seen it coming, but this is what caused her to break her block.
This is why we have Jake on the show, so we can fire back at my hot takes. Kaden, what do you think of this sequence of events? This was, I mean, you said there were exciting moments throughout the book, right? I'm assuming this is probably one of them.
I actually was thinking, well, yeah, this is okay.
Oh.
I've been sitting here for like the last 5 minutes wondering how Lan and Nynaeve made it into the top three.
I'm thinking that too.
So that's more what I was focusing on here, because like Lan like wants to just die, right? And then Nynaeve's like, I'm forcing you to marry me, basically. And I mean,
He's
sure,
like,
yeah, they
okay.
love each other, right? But that's kind of how I felt. I'm like, where's really the romance there for me?
I think that they have a good romance in the sense that it's one of the relationships that's more fleshed out, but also whenever their romance is on screen, I feel like I'm like in a room with a couple when I'm like, oh, I'm intruding here. This is awkward. Like, I got to get out of here. Like, that's how I feel like whenever their romance is on screen. So it's just kind of like awkward.
Because the passion is too much for you to stand. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, Lan, you just went from stone face to like, I don't know.
Kissy face?
Yeah. And like you can tell Nynaeve doesn't really know what to do with herself. Like you can, which is good writing, I guess, but you can tell Nynaeve is like, yeah, that's right, you're gonna do this, but she's kind of like, wait, what am I telling him what to do? I don't really know what I'm doing here.
We don't want to do spoilers for the rest of the series, so you'll have to see how the romance develops, Kaden.
That's true. That's true. One of the parts, though, I was way more excited about is it you call it a golem?
Yeah.
Right after this part, when they actually go to get the Bowl of Winds, that was really exciting. That was a good.
Okay. Yeah. So they come across the big cache, the blockage is there, the golem is there, it all goes down. Yeah.
I just thought like to introduce this new enemy, I guess, that we haven't seen before, right? The Elaine and Nynaeve can't just, overpower. Like, back a couple books, Nynaeve runs into Mogideon back in, man, I can't even remember where it was now. The first time she runs into her. Yeah, Tenchiko, that's right.
Yeah.
And she battles her and wins, basically first time she's ever faced a Forsaken. You're like, wow, like I feel like the Forsaken should be stronger. Like I was actually glad to see like, oh, hey, here's this new enemy that's powerful. Elaine got, the golem got the best of Elaine and barely, if Matt hadn't been there, he would have won. So I just thought the whole, that whole part was really exciting.
Yeah. It all happened pretty fast. So I don't know. I don't know if there's enough time for you to really be like, wait, how are they going to get over this? You know what I mean? You're just like, I feel like when I read it, it was just, I got to read to figure out what happens. But I didn't see the medallion thing coming. Was that, do you think that was like obvious at all when you read it?
No, I didn't see it. No, yeah.
It was cool that I had this dual purpose. Like it was cool already because it gave Matt immunity, but now
Yeah.
it can also hit against this thing that nothing else can.
Yeah. And I liked how there's a little bit of foreshadowing for the golem coming. Like now that you've read it, if when rereading it, some of the Forsaken, I can't remember honestly which one it was, if it was, anyways, but them talking about how they've, I don't know if they say it for word that they have a golem but they mention like they're alluding to it.
I want to say it was Samael because he was
That's what I
in
was thinking.
Abu Dar earlier, but I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, I can't remember. Who's the one who brought Mogideon to Abu Dar? Was it Samael?
I thought it was the Arangar. Is that how you say it?
Oh, was it? She's the one who her freed.
Yeah, that's who freed. I just assumed that's who took it, but maybe it wasn't.
I don't remember, but yeah. Anyways, the whole golem thing is, like you said, it's just a cool new enemy that kind of you've had some power creep with our main characters, kind of getting over leveled. So it's like, okay, we need to put a check here to
yeah,
suspenseful still.
And the golem was around earlier because it killed the scholar, Rand's friend Herod Fell, right?
Yeah, which I don't, is that explicitly stated that that's what killed it?
Maybe it's just
I hadn't made that connection, but
I guess it was more hinted at.
Yeah,
his throat was ripped out, right?
Oh, right.
Which appears to be the preferred method of killing.
Yeah, and like the fact that they said the doors were all locked or something.
Yeah.
Right. But
right.
Yeah.
Rand's buddy dies, right?
Buddy. Yeah.
Matt's buddy. Nailsian, however you say his name. Yeah, one of his red hand guys.
He's the guy who was always like saying, like, "Oh, we need to get you new clothes," right? Is he the clothes guy?
All right, yeah, we clearly know what we're talking about. So,
my memory of it, when thinking back, I remember thinking, "Oh, that's sad." This guy was like, Matt was always just annoyed with this guy, and then I don't know. It's kind of sad that he died.
Yeah. All right, should we just wrap up the rest of this little track? So, Elaine, finally, like, this is a real apology at the end after Matt saves them for, yet again. And then the girls take off with the sea folk, and Matt stays to find Oliver. But then the Shan-Chan attack, and he is trapped in a wall, falls on top of him, and fade to black for this book, right?
I was pumped about the Shan-Chan invasion.
Yeah.
I'm like still
are fun. Like it's always it's going to be exciting when the Shan-Chan are coming in. They're going to do stuff.
I'm like still terrified of them after was it book 1 or 2?
Two,
two, right?
Uh-huh. Like, forever ago, but they left such a lasting mark.
I think that just as a real, goes to Robert Jordan and how well he did it, all the way back in book 2 of describing, that whole scene with them.
I remember the first time I read this series, they were a big part of book 2, and I was like, okay, yeah, we beat them. The Shan-Chan they're done with. And then getting into this book, and I mean they're like around here and there, but now they're back, and I was like, what? Like I thought these guys were done for. They're back again, and they're back and better than ever, leading into future books.
I thought it was a really cool way to end the book where, like, you feel like the climax is over. You know what I mean? They defeated the golem, they got the bowl of the winds, and then it's like, oh shoot, here come the Shan-Chan, and like it's kind of the scramble at the end. Freaking older.
Definitely a cliffhanger, right? With Matt.
Yeah,
you want to know.
He's probably just dead. The wall fell on him, right?
Yeah, exactly. Main character out.
All right, so backtrack to Rand. So Rand finally meets the legendary Cadsuane, right? That is how you say her name, Cadsuane Sedai. This was a character who we're just bringing in here. and everyone else is in awe of her because they thought she was off in retirement, and she's back and she's bossing everyone around. And Kaden, did you like Cadsuane, or did you find her horribly annoying?
I found her annoying. Yeah.
Hmm. I also found her mostly annoying, but she does have some cool parts.
The thing that I did like about her was when is it the Shiva and I can't remember the other Ashaman's name right now, come in to heal him after
Oh, Flynn.
jumping ahead a little bit.
Flynn, yeah.
Yeah, Flynn, right? And she like lets them right where the other Aes Sedai are like, no, we don't trust him at all. And she's like, I'll let him do it. So, you know, I liked her more than some Aes Sedai for sure.
Yeah.
But
she's cool because she's definitely like, she doesn't fall in line in any, like, you can't put her in any category, which makes her this kind of added X factor that you don't know how it's going to affect the plot.
Top moment for me with her was when she slaps Rand after he tosses out the balefire, and she's like, never do that again. And Rand promptly does it again. But that was funny.
She is a little full of herself. How she, she comes in, she's like, I am the legendary Cadsuane, and I am going to make Rand, do what he needs to do. Like,
yeah.
Right. So that,
you can tell she's like she's meant to be kind of like this Moraine 2.0 character.
Yeah.
Where you can tell it's being set up like where that's the role she's trying to fill. And Rand and us as the readers are trying to figure out can she fill that? Like, do we trust her to fill that? It's kind of like meeting Moraine all over again. Like Rand, it took Moraine dying for Rand to like figure out, oh man, I should have trusted her more. But now we're starting again and the trust isn't there.
Right.
But she's kind of a wild card too. She's like this older legend, but she's somehow less stuck in the Aes Sedai ways. For example, when you said she let Flynn and Grady or whoever heal Rand, whereas like all the other Aes Sedai, that's like an affront to their positions.
Okay, so from one romance with Lan and Nynaeve to another with Rand and Min. So Rand and Min comfort each other after Harrodfell dies. And then Rand freaks out.
Quote from the wiki, huh?
Well, it's what it says, right? In the text of the book, they comfort each other. Yeah. And we find out later that means that they did a little bit more than comforting each other. But then later on, Rand's all upset because he's like, oh, man, like you didn't, like I forced myself on you or something. Like Rand, the dude is just got to get over himself a little bit. And so one of the top moments for Min is when Min just gets him out of this dumb brooding pattern that he's in and says, Rand, like, we love each other. We're together. We're in this. Let's make this work.
Now let me sit on your lap.
Yeah, she likes the lap.
I feel like this isn't like there's not a lot to unravel here, and I can see people being annoyed with these parts. But to me, I think it's meant just to show that Rand does have like humanity still in him, but it's like only she's really able to bring it out at this point. I don't know. It's kind of like showing both sides of him. And she's just a great character. Definitely one of the best characters in the series.
Yeah, we know Jake loves Min.
She's awesome.
Kaden, where does she stack up with some other girl characters for you?
Yeah, I'm still an Avienda fan.
Avienda's great.
I like Min. I'm not saying I don't like Min. I'm not a huge fan of Min and Rand's romance. It's all right. It's
you're more into the far snows.
Yeah. I think I feel like Rand and Avienda had a lot better like dialogue back and forth for a long time. Like their relationship grew, and I feel like Min and Rand kind of just like happened, kind of really quickly.
Yeah.
Which, not yeah. Again, I don't want to hate on it. It's fine, and it definitely had its purposes in the book, right?
To me, it gives me vibes of spoilers for Harry Potter 6 of when Harry and Ginny finally get together, and just that kind of like there's kind of like that the whole feel of book 6 is kind of like that calm before the storm, like just enjoying your last year as like kind of this innocence. And I feel like Min and Rand's relationship is reminiscent of that, where it's like him being able to kind of escape his worries in the world.
When they finally get together, isn't it like they've just won the Quidditch World Cup and Harry walks in and he kisses her and describes it
The
like a
common
lion.
room.
A
Yeah.
lion is like roaring in his chest and he's like, yes, I got
Yeah.
the girl. And he looks around and Ron's like nodding his approval.
Yeah.
What a scene. What a scene.
Yeah. Yeah, that stuck with me for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's why I think I like the romance, is because it adds like that, like it's kind of like Rand's way of escaping from his troubles.
Okay, I like so if that Min. Sorry, one thing about Min, I like that she can take care of herself. She's learned, she's got these knives. She's checking at people during, the throws one at Padan Thane as we come up to that point here in a second. Mm-hmm. But I like that about Min, that she's not just a helpless character.
She doesn't have magic. She's one of the few characters that doesn't have the magical ability. I mean, she has the foretellings, but or the visions, but those don't really help her.
Yeah. I feel like for the most part, I mean, obviously in a series where the women are the standard mages of the world, but Wheel of Time does a good job of, there aren't many female characters who just serve, who can't take care of themselves. Like men and women alike are being caught in situations where they need rescuing.
Okay, so a few quick hitters after this. There's a couple of Forsaken interactions. We get Samael and Randall and Savannah and Moradin. This mysterious character named Moradin appears on the scenes a few times. And then actually he's the one that I think sends Mohidian, because he has her mind trap thing. I don't remember exactly what that is, to be honest, but that's a thing. And then Morgase abdicates the throne. She runs away. She gets the heck out of Amadicia, right? And so she's going to be on the run a little bit, kind of a C-D tier plot line that just appears every now and then. But Morgase is still a thing. And then Rand sends Perrin off to deal with Basima, and they've got this like ploy of them being mad at each other, but really he's off on the secret mission. And then we start to get towards the very ending climax. Any of those things worth talking about more?
Well, we were going to talk about the Padan Thane for a little bit, right?
Yeah. That's the climax we're getting to. So it sounds like that's where we want to go.
Is that the climax though, or is the climax more?
Well, it's like the thing. It's the thing right before the climax,
Okay, I can't remember how close it was.
Yeah. There's a bit of a break because after the Padan Thane attack, then we go back to Matt and the girls one more time, and then we go to the final chapter. But right before, one more thing right before the Padan Thane thing is we have the Sea Folk Alliance, which is really just kind of a setup for future stuff. But now Rand and Min go off to the rebels. These are the Tarian and Carrion, Tarian and Carrion. They rhyme. The rebel group, and Padan Thane happens to be there. And Rand's like, I'll put 1 million golden crowns on this guy's head if someone can get him. And then he fights this duel with Torum, what's his face, who's basically the leader of the Carrion rebels. And Padan Thane leaps in there with his Mashadar mist and stabs him. There's a lot going on here.
Padan Thane just serves to be this random encounter of chaos. Whenever something needs to happen, it's like, Padan Thane could be here. We'll throw it.
He's the definition of chaotic evil for sure.
Yeah. I thought it was cool how it's showing like how him being Taviran works as well. Like he was able to slip in and act as if he was some unknown person and really get to know the rebel leader. And I thought that was cool, like able to, which eventually enabled him to sway them to his cause, right? Without needing to kill them.
Rand kind of goes on this like up and down on his like arrogance, where he's like, I am the Dragon Reborn. I get captured by Aes Sedai. Oh, I'm Taviran. I can do anything. Oh, I'm gonna get
Yeah.
stabbed by Bottom thing, right? Like he
Yeah.
kind of goes up and down, right? And I felt like he went in there being so full of himself and like I can do what needs to be done, and being Taviran works kind of both ways, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, he did do what he wanted to get done, but he was also oblivious to other dangers, right?
And we talked about Rand leveling up. Padan Fain also leveling up, right? He can do the Mashadar mist attack now. And yeah, I mean, how many characters get close enough to Rand to actually stab him? And he would have killed him if not for fate, Taviran, luck, whatever you want to call it. The stabbing happened at the exact same point as this previous scar. So the two like half-healed wounds battle each other out. It's kind of some cool imagery, cool idea.
Mm-hmm. Twice and twice he shall be marked. Even though I think that's referring to different.
Yeah, isn't that the dragons on his
it's dragons
arms?
and the herons, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But
yeah, and scars. Okay.
Twice and twice thing. And twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
three twices. Twice thrice.
All right. So we go to the final battle here. So he gets healed. He wakes up and they're like, oh, Rand, why don't you, take a minute? And he's like, no, we're going to go attack Ilion right now. And I'm ready to go. And then he does the Samael thing. So
that's another classic Rand moment. Like book 5, Lanfear attacks. Okay, now we got to go kill Robin right now.
Yeah. Yep.
Anytime he's down, the Randall Thor therapy is let's go kill a Forsaken. For me, it's like I'm gonna go buy a book. For Rand, it's like let's go off a Forsaken. So in this case, it's unfortunately Samael. Unfortunate for for Samael. Fortunately for Rand, and he's over in Ilion. He sets off all his traps, and then they travel to Shadar Logoth because, of course. And then he meets this mysterious man who shoots off balefire. Their beams cross, which is bad, or is it? It's interesting at least. And Rand does not sense Sidene at all from this other mysterious fellow. So what's going on there? And then he kind of leaves Samael to the Mashadar to die, and then he returns as king of Ilion, and that's the book. Wraps up very quickly.
So 2 things. Back in book 6, or maybe it was book 6 or book 5, they go to Shadar Logoth and one of the maidens, disappears.
Yeah, I think Laya.
Yeah, Laya, I think is. Anyway, I was like, no, she's not dead. She's got to come back, and it's going to be cool at some point. And then she comes back and then kind of dies. And I was hoping like there would be like a better resolution to her story than what happens here in book 7. At least I'm pretty sure she dies. I think
Rand balefires her. I think Rand balefires her to for a mercy killing, right?
Because she was taken over in this book.
Yeah, she's like definitely.
So she wasn't really even alive, anyways.
Right. Yeah, I was kind of hoping though that she was still alive.
Yeah, that was like one more nail, just another nail in Rand's heart for being the cause of death to women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's going on the list for sure. He does not feel good about that.
As far as the mystery person,
man of mystery.
My guess right now is that it's Moradin.
Okay. And who is Moradin?
Is that how I say it? The guy that has the mind trap for Mogidi, or
right? Like he's been around. Yeah. He's been around.
Who he is? Yeah.
What's going on with this guy?
Yeah, I don't know. But he's using like what do they call it? He's using the Dark One's power, right?
Okay, the true source, right? Yeah.
The true source, yeah. Which is why Rand can't sense it or see where he is.
Right. Okay. Very astute. Yes.
But
he's using the true source
to know who he really is.
Well, he will continue to be a character, so watch out for mysterious Moradin.
Kind of disappointed in how Samael went out. I mean, he's been a known threat since book 3, like he's had Ilion since book 3. And lots of time, like he attacked him in Tyr, he attacked them in the Waste, the
Yeah, he's
attack
always
thing.
been like a thing, like Samael,
Yeah,
he's out there. We got to take him
yeah.
down. And then okay, we did it. Why was it so hard?
He
I
was kind
actually
of. Oh, go ahead, Caden.
I actually reread it after like that part to make sure like he really died because I was like, wait, no, like that was how he died and it was so quick and yeah, kind of a little anticlimactic. So
Yeah.
I kind of like went back and was like, wait, did he really die? Like,
He's like, there's like some Forsaken where you're like, oh, you're scary, you're Forsaken, and there are other ones where you're like, man, you've been talked up and you think you're all that, and you just, how did you get to become Forsaken again?
Uh-huh.
Like I feel like even the rest of the Forsaken don't really like treat Samael as if he were like important. Like leading up to this scene, I feel like it, like I don't know.
Yeah, like he's trying to do some stuff
He's like,
with
oh,
the
I have my
Shido and
plans.
stuff, and
Yeah,
he's hanging out with Grandel, and Morden's observing them.
yeah,
But I think there's a part where Grandel's like, you're not really that cool. I should just go hang out with Demon Dread.
yeah.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't get the respect he deserves, or
He
maybe he
doesn't.
doesn't. He doesn't deserve the respect. He goes out pretty
Yeah.
easily.
That being said, I mean, him with the Shido, that's a pretty cool plan. Just be like, I'm just going to, cause chaos, basically.
Just scatter
So
them around. Yeah.
they get some props there, but yeah, but for an enemy, a known enemy who's been in the same location since book 3, kind of, I don't know. But then you have like, I feel like Robin, like the battle between Robin, even though like he had less screen time, like that was more of an intense battle, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Than this one.
Yeah.
But
Okay, let's go to our top 3 and bottom 3. I think we talked through the book. This is the segment that we all look forward to and prepare for in advance. We definitely do not come up with these on the fly. So we're going to do our top 3 and bottom 3 characters for this book, their performance in The Crown of Swords. Who's going to start us off with their top 3 characters?
I can go.
All right, Jake.
I'm gonna say number 3 is Pat Fane. I mean,
Gets the stab.
Gets the stab and
Yeah.
surprise attack out of nowhere. Like I don't know. He's always a fun character to see on screen. And then number 2, I don't know. I can't really. I had a hard time thinking of 3 people for the top 3, but dang, I don't know. I'll say dang, what even happens really with like maybe
what even happens? We just recapped the whole book.
I know, but I'm just trying to. Okay,
this was really hard to find 3. I agree with you.
I have a top 2: Pat Fane, and then Matt. Matt does really well in this book. He's awesome.
All right, no one else makes Jake's top 3. Kaden, what was your top 3?
So I'd add the Golem into my top 3, probably at number 3.
Okay.
Just because it was really hard to come up with 3 for this one. I don't feel like there's a lot of new characters, and none of them have like super huge moments as we've had in previous books. But I just because he seemed pretty formidable in the one scene he was in the book. Yeah, and I'd probably go with the other. I was thinking Pot Thane and Bat were my other 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think if I should change it up now, though. That Jake.
Hey, you're still different. I didn't have the Golem.
But
all right, I'm gonna go. Number 3 is gonna be a combination because they are bonded of Brigitta and Elaine. Elaine is making an appearance. Hey, she gave an apology by the end. I know we hate Elaine in general, but that was fun, and the drinking part was fun with Brigitta. So they're going in number 3. Number 2, I'm going to say Min, just because, she grounds Rand pretty well and their relationship is kind of moving along. So we'll go number 2. And I think it's hard to not say Matt was number 1 in this book. Lots of good Matt moments. He won the day for sure. Okay, bottom 3. Maybe this is easier if the top 3 were hard.
Right. I'm gonna say Samael, just because of how like kind of disappointing his end is. Also, okay, Samael, Savannah, and Elida. I mean, those two weren't in there for a huge portion of the book, but their plans were completely smashed. So
fair, very fair. Kaden, you're still thinking of your bottom three.
Yeah, for mine, I would put Savannah is probably number one. I should probably go backwards here. I'm gonna throw Elaine into mine because Elaine's always a good pick for your bottom three.
Just hate Elaine. All right.
Here's mostly why. It bugged me how long they spent in Ebudar. When if they had just talked to Matt at the beginning, I feel like we could have skipped like 300 pages of what was going on there. I feel like the whole time she's like, we've got to get the Bull of the Winds, and she's all worried about it. But kind of it's her fault they didn't get the Bull of the Winds until it took them that as long as they did.
Okay.
Number two. Let's see. Yeah, Samael has to make an appearance because of how anticlimactic the end was. And then number one, just I would say the Shido as a whole. Savannah and maybe Savannah and the wise women, or the wise ones together.
Big oof for the Shido.
Yeah.
Poor guys. Okay, my bottom three, I'm going to go, can I throw a Colivir? Still can't say her name right.
Yeah, her. I thought of her.
Yeah, her reign did not last very long. Too bad for her.
Kind of a sad one to pick, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why you don't mess with the Dragon Reborn.
True.
You guys already covered Samael. I'll throw Mahidian in there just because she got out of captivity and then was immediately captive to someone more powerful. And like, come on, how do you hit a boat, but you miss Nynaeve? Like, very poor aim on the Balefire. Just make your Balefire like a little bit bigger and you would hit her.
She got too excited.
Yeah, poor showing there. Take a little bit more time to aim next time. Then my very bottom character. If I'm not going to do Samael, I'll just do Savannah as well. I mean, it was a total failure for her, and now she's got nothing left. So those are my bottom three. Surprise. I think we were we were pretty well in line through most of that, actually.
I'm surprised, Steven, you didn't bring up the kin in your bottom three.
Just all of the kin for being boring.
I didn't think they're that boring, honestly. I liked it. I liked the kin.
All right. We started with the kin. We end with the kin. Yeah. If you like the kin, let us know. And if you want to follow Phantology, you can do that at Phantology Books on Twitter. You can join our Discord and talk with us more. Kaden is going to continue to read Wheel of Time because at this point we are requiring him to. He cannot stop.
Halfway
You're into Path of Daggers, right? Book 8?
Yeah, I'm about a fifth of the way through.
Okay.
200 pages in.
Okay. Looking forward to that. We'll see if you finish before the TV show comes out. Have you seen any of the promo? There was a promo thing earlier, like a week or so ago, that showed the dagger at Shadow Logoth.
Oh, that's apropos.
Yeah, we should have talked about that. How did we miss that? So you can go on Wheel of Time on Prime, Watt on Prime Twitter account and see a short little clip of Matt finding the dagger. Yeah. Cool. Everyone go do that. All right. You can find more. Yeah. Thank you, Kaden. Okay. You can find more of Phantology at www.phantologybooks.com. And you can support the show on patreon.com/Phantology_books. All right. Thanks, everyone. We will see you next time.
See ya.
See you guys.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Phantology. If you'd like to let us know your opinions on all things sci-fi and fantasy, join our Discord. Invites are in the episode descriptions below. If you'd like to support the show, like these fine folks here, you can do that at patreon.com/phantology_books. Patrons get early access to new episodes, exclusive postings, and exclusive Discord benefits. But of course, just listening and watching and sharing with your friends and family is support enough. Journey before destination all.